I want a man with emotional intelligence, and I want a man who actually can communicate. Like, I've heard this so much on places like the Reddit dating subs, TikTok, etc. Women complaining about men, but something Robert Greene said once really stuck out to me. And he said that most people think that they're better at reading others than they really are. And he's right. And nowhere has this been more obvious in the realm of dating ladies. Ladies, you say that you've got intuition. You say that you can read vibes and energy and red flags and the chemistry. But here's the truth. You can't read men like me, honey. And I say that with full authority because I've been diagnosed with narcissistic personality disorder. And okay, this isn't a flex, but it's just reality. My brain is wired a little bit differently. I don't connect emotionally in the same way most men would. And I have a natural, let's call it instinct for performing for people. And ladies, you fall for it every single time. I can become whoever you need me to be, especially on social media, especially on the dating apps. I am very candid on the dating apps. I'll get you emotionally attached right off the bat. And that makes me incredibly dangerous to the ladies out there who are looking to date someone that's serious. You guys can't tell anymore who's serious. You can't detect the inauthenticity for all that you complain about men having communication styles that are sad to say the least. And that loss that you have suffered, women, that's the product of social media. You are on your phone too much. That's why you keep getting played. We have an entire generation of ladies that doesn't talk to anybody in public, much less strangers. They can't read body language. They don't know how to feel people in real time. And everything you consume, ladies, is filtered, and it's scripted, and it's curated, and it's screen-based. So when a guy like me enters the picture, you really don't stand a chance. And here's how this usually goes. I curate my dating app profile like this. Hinge, 2 truths and a lie. I'm very candid about doing this purposely to create an emotional connection. I'll say that I used to have a felony and I was the victim of DV and my girlfriend in high school died. Those are 2, and it's a trick question because all 3 of those are true, right? I'm confident. I'm charming. I will tell you the story about how it happened and how I felt and how she felt. And I'll also tell you how I overcame the odds. And that is being emotionally open just enough to let her feel safe and try to create an emotional connection with me. I mirror her values. I mirror her vibe. She feels seen, special. Like she thinks we've got something rare. We may have sex, we may not. I don't really do the hookup culture thing anymore. I did when I was a kid, but I have noticed that it is just as bad for men that it is for women, so I don't really condone that type of behavior. But these women think that we're building something, and then I would ghost them. Or worse, I stay and she realizes that she's in a relationship with somebody who's cold and self-centered and that never really cared. But by then, I've breadcrumbed her along so much that she's absolutely hooked. And for all women talk about, like breadcrumbing and love bombing and all of that, they can't detect it when it really happens. Like, we have this metric saying that 1/6 of all people have narcissistic tendencies. There's a really big difference between telling somebody that's normal otherwise that has narcissistic tendencies versus somebody who's diagnosed with the cluster B personality disorder, right? By then, she's hooked. I gave her just enough of what she thought was real. There we go. And here's the part that nobody wants to say. Women cannot read people anymore. They mistake anxiety for chemistry. They confuse charm for character. And they'll think that emotional manipulation is just a deep connection. And that's because their instincts, the ones that women have had for 200,000 years, since Australopithecus and Homo erectus, that's completely dulled. We are social beings. That's why we as humans are the apex predator on this planet. But women have lost that ability. All the body language and tone and micro-expression stuff, it doesn't exist anymore. It's been replaced by TikTok and DMs and vibes through a screen. And they don't know what a real man looks like anymore. Or when a narcissist shows up with the mask on. They'll fall in love with the performance every single time because everything that they see is a performance. And so women, you guys keep asking, why do I keep getting played? Why do I keep attracting narcissists? And it's simple. Because the type of guy who used to trigger alarm bells in your gut never does. And the good guy who can't trigger any emotions in you gets completely overlooked. You can't detect anything anymore. You don't know a good guy, you don't know a bad guy. And that's because a third of you grew up in single mother households, and a big portion of you grew up with just an absentee father. You might have seen him maybe 2 days every week, 1 day every week. He might have been working all the time, but you've lost the ability to communicate with men. You'd be like, I'm good at communication because I can communicate with my sisters, my friends. That's not the same as communicating with a man, and you should know that. You should have been taught that when you were growing up. We have different communication styles, and you get played every single time. You think you're intuitive, but you're blind, and that makes you dangerous to yourself. The guy you just slept with, he was never real. It was just a mask, and you know that now. I have NPD, and in this modern world, ladies, that's not a disadvantage, it's an advantage. And you ladies, by screwing yourself over with being on your phones 24/7, I see it on my college campus. You guys walk around, you bump into people, you bump into other buildings, you walk into traffic because you're on your phones, dicking around. So when a guy like me approaches and he lays a really good pipe and you get that oxytocin flowing, you're screwed. You've never made it easier. Thank you for all the narcissists, to all you ladies out there, for making yourselves more vulnerable. Hit the like, guys. Hit the sub. I'll see you next time.